Hey all you Stitchers, I am back. It's been a little while. It's probably been about 2 months since the last time I hopped on here, so I was kind of feeling it today a little bit, so I figured let's do it. The baby's napping. I have more than a little bit of stuff, but nothing too overwhelming since it's been a little bit of time, but I figured I'd sit down and have a little chit chat with y'all while I had some time on my hands. It's been a really nice, it's Wednesday, September something, middle of September. We'll just go with that. And Wednesdays are my day. I'm off on Wednesdays. It is my day with, kind of like a mommy and me day. It's a day with my daughter where I just kind of like throw myself fully into being a mom because I don't have to work and weekends get a little hectic. So it's just a day where I like hang out with her and we do stuff. So we did our little local zoo today, and so she was tuckered out. So she is out cold right now, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. I could have taken a little bit of time to stitch, but I was just kind of in the mood to kind of show some stuff, and I didn't want it to get too out of control because then it would be way too much. So I don't like my videos super long, so figured I'd just hop on quick. But yeah, so we'll just jump right into it. It has been so it's been almost 2 months, because I think it was like the end of July last time I was on here, so we kind of made our way through summer, and now we're definitely into fall. And I've just been busy. I mean, for a little while, I think towards the end of the summer, I mean, we were busy like doing summer things, going to water parks, went up to Lake Michigan, and I didn't have a ton of time to stitch, and I honestly wasn't really in the mood to stitch for a little while, so which I will show you later. But me and Nicole from Off to the Flosses on Instagram, we started a little stitch along, which was like the perfect thing. I've been into stitching. I started my first mirabilia, and I absolutely love it. I did dye my fabric. I did not record it because I just wasn't really, I didn't want to set it all up, and I just wanted to get it done. And honestly, I thought dyeing the fabric was going to take a long time, and I think it took me about 15 minutes. So it was you have to like play. I used Rit dye. You kind of have to play around with the colors to get what you want, but I mean, literally it took me 15 minutes, and then it was out in my yard drying. So it was really quick, super fun. I'm probably going to do it to most fabric now because it's just fun to personalize it a little bit more. So I will show you that. That'll be one of the last things I'll show because that's one of the most recent. I'm still working on it right now. One of the more recent things I've been working on. Sorry, I feel like I'm a little nasally. Allergies are like out of control. I am on allergy medicine. I'm still a little all up in my sinuses. First thing I have to show, I worked on this a little while ago. Savior's Praise. You know it. You love it. There's the big picture. Oh, there's the big picture of it. Super, super pretty. Absolutely love it. So I actually made it all the way across. I am all the way across on the border there. I was gonna say, it's getting harder, like as these things grow and get ginormous, it's harder to show them. Okay. So this, let me make sure I'm back enough. Whoop. So that's where I am now. So I didn't make it all the way like on the outside border, but I at least made it whoop, to like that point there. So the first time, I don't know if you guys remember, first time I started it a little bit, it wasn't off center, and I was gonna run out of fabric, so I had to frog a decent amount, and then I started from the opposite side. But now, obviously, I have plenty of fabric on that. So yeah, so that's where I am now. It's been fun to work on. I even started a little bit on that alphabet down there, like a lot of people are doing. I'm gonna do, I think in the thing, they just have like random letters. A couple of them are blue. I don't know if you can see that, sorry. I am, a lot of people are doing like their initials blue, and so I'm gonna kind of obviously copy that just to make it a little bit personalized. And I also noticed, let me see, in this section in here, I don't know if it's focused or not, but there are like a bunch of initials in there. I'm assuming, I mean, I don't know exactly what you did. I haven't figured out if I'm gonna put like my initial and my husband and my daughter, and then like maybe my in-laws and my parents. The tricky part with that is that me, my husband, and my daughter, we all have the same initials. We're all in AK. My mother-in-law and father-in-law have the same initials. They're both DB, and then my parents don't. But I'm like, so that'd be like a lot of this, which is fine. It would just be a lot of the same initial, but I I haven't totally figured out what I'm going to do. For a minute, I'm like, oh, I could put like the animal's initial, but nah, not super into that either. I don't know. So I'm still working that out in my brain a little bit, but we'll get there. I have plenty of time. I mean, that's not going anywhere super fast. I haven't shown this in a super long time. I think this, I did Arbitrary August, kind of. So I think for the first 2 or 3 weeks, I kind of stuck to it, and I would work on whatever was spun, and by the end, I was over it. I think for like the last like a week I spun, I didn't like anything it was drawing, and I'm like, I'm just going to work on what I want. I think that's when I pulled out Savior's Praise. So it actually pulled out my cricket collection, winter. I don't know if I mean, maybe in one of my like first ones I showed this. I haven't worked on this probably since last year, and now I'm like, I like it. There's a lot of thread changing, a lot of color changes, which I used to like. It's funny how you kind of evolve as a stitcher. I used to love the constant color change, and now I'm like, not so much into that. But I finished all the way to the T. I don't know if this is going to be see-through. Oh, no, it's fine. Okay. So I did all the way, all the way to the T. I would love to finish this and put it out this winter. So I just need to like kind of buckle down and work on it more than I probably want to. So yeah, and the snowman, which you will never even be able to tell. I think when I first started doing this, I was doing, whoops. Okay, this is just not working with me. In the snowman, yeah, you can't even tell. When I first started doing it, I was doing 2/2, and then when I looked at the directions, it actually called for 3/2 in that snowman. It is Krynic, which is a royal pain in the butt, so I was very, very happy to get that done, because that little dude took me a long-ass time to get done. Long time to get done. It just kept knotting, and it was just a nightmare, so happy to have him done. Really, I mean, if you look at the pattern, I only have the sled, the E, and the R. So, I mean, I am like, if I were to buckle down, I could like definitely get that done probably by Christmas. I just have to dig deep, and bring out that want in me, because I just don't love working on that, unfortunately. But it'll be super cute when it's done, so I really need to just sit down and do it. I worked on my Liberty's Welcome a little bit. It's a really fun summery one. I actually brought this Labor Day weekend. We went down to Nashville to see my in-laws. My daughter had brought home her first cold of the season, so that was like right when I first started getting sick. So I'll show you. I got the date done, if you can see. Oh my gosh, my cat's like freaking out, sorry. The date up there, the July 4th, 1776. That is all I got done in the 2 days down there. And we actually had a lot of downtime. We were down there Saturday, and I didn't leave the house because I really wasn't feeling too hot. But it was still a super fun time. So that's where I am now on that. So I did the date. Oh my gosh, this is so awkward. Okay, there we go. I did a little bit more of that border. So I got to the date, went down to the date, and then I started in on that eagle. So this is coming along. And even the roof a little bit. Could actually see the variegation a little bit in the roof. It's a classic Colorworks. I forget the name of it right now. Something with the bay, I think, but just has a little bit of variegation. When I did it, I didn't see any, and then I held it back, and I was like, oh my gosh, my husband had no idea what I was talking about, and he's like, okay, definitely thought I was crazy, and I'm like, no, there's a little bit of variegation. It's so pretty. So, like I said, the evolution of a stitcher. I never understood like the fancy flosses, and now I'm starting to get into them. I started mirabilia, and that has the Karen water lilies in it. Absolutely love those. I'm like, great. Now I'm just like making this hobby more and more expensive as I go. That'll be super great, but they're just so fun to stitch with. So that is as far as I've gotten on Liberty's Welcome. Super great. Okay. In the mail right now, I realized I didn't have any like fall or Halloween to stitch on, and now that that's like coming up, I really wanted something, so I went in 1 2 3 stitch. I almost got another Plum Street, I think it's Ghoul Tide Welcome, but it was really big, and wait till you see what I got. I just cannot control myself. I love all of the super big projects for some reason. I have a hard time going small, so After browsing for a couple days, I finally found one that was like within reason, wasn't huge. So I'm going to start that in October. So you'll see that in my next video. I mean, it's still in the mail. I probably won't get it till next week. So you will see that in my next video. What is it, September? So hopefully around like Halloween would be great if I could get another video in by then. My last one to show you is my mirabilia that I started with Nicole. I'm doing a stitch along. It's been super fun to do a stitch along with someone. I mean, we literally talk like almost daily, which has just been a blast. So I think she started more like in the hair area. Yeah, she started more down here. I started in the opposite corner. I started up there because of where I wanted to put it on the fabric that I dyed. So I wanted to start in this area up there. So we kind of started in separate areas, and now we're kind of like going up. We're like almost meeting in the middle right now. So that's been really fun. She's super pretty. I realized with mirabilias, the pictures don't even do it close to justice. So it has been, she's just a pretty, pretty girl. Another thing I never thought I would get into when I first started stitching, I'm like, I don't get people that stitch those like the girls and the mermaids. Not my thing at all. Now it's my thing. So, and I actually, in my haul, I bought another mirabilia. So like, and I have a Christmas one I would love to stitch, but I don't know what I'm going to start for Christmas. So I'll have to figure that out. But there she is, Mermaid of Atlantis. That's what she was obviously charted on that green. Me and Nicole, neither one of us are doing it on the green. She's doing it on a blue as well. And then I dyed cheapy linen. I literally got this linen, I think it was the Hobby Lobby brand. So it's like Artiste, whatever you want to call it. And then I just got it and I kind of went to town with it. So I'll show you. This is kind of what the fabric looks like. I was super, super happy with it. So it's like that really aqua blue color, and then it's a little bit hard. It's super wrinkled on the bottom, sorry. It's, I used the aquamarine, and then into the aquamarine I mixed, you can kind of see it there, the hyacinth, so it kind of gave it a pretty kind of purple modeling color. Figured Atlantis, Bermuda, the water's kind of like an aqua color there, so I kind of wanted to mimic that a little bit. And with the colors are more greens, I thought it would be really pretty and not really blend in that much, so this is where I am on her. So as you can see, I started with that fish. That fish is actually totally done, besides the beading. Started in the shell, got sick of those flesh tones, and so I decided to count down, and I came right on down. I was telling Nicole, this is not wonky, it's just how it is on the Q-snap. I can never get it like just how I want it on the Q-snap. It drives me a little crazy, but that always trips me out. And I'm like, no, as soon as I take it off, it kind of straightens right up. So it's been fun. This is actually, sadly enough, this is a small project for me. When I counted like up and across, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the whole border. Like it doesn't go off the side. Like whenever, I feel like so many of my projects, I have all this extra fabric and I never see like one full all the way across. So that's been kind of nice. So yes, then I went down and I actually started, these are some of the Karen water lilies. There's some in the, over here, you can't even tell though. But this is all, that's all one thread there. So that's kind of that really pretty variegation to that. It's kind of like a red and a green. Does not look like that at all on the picture. That's when Nicole, this is kind of where Nicole started. When she showed me that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's like not even close to what I'm seeing on that page. So I don't know if this is supposed to, it's part of her hair, but I don't know if it's supposed to, it kind of looks a little bit like seaweed to me too. So I don't know if it's like a little bit of seaweed, but one thing I wanted to see, I don't know if any of you mirabilia stitchers, I really, at this point, I just don't think it's possible, and I just need to like chill and stop like thinking about it. I would love to bead this as I go, but I don't see how that's possible with Q-snaps, because I figured at some point, like as you're beading, they're not going to fit under this. So eventually, as you're beading this, when it's all stitched, you're going to have to stitch in hand, which is fine. I mean, I don't like to do whole pieces like that, but for beading purposes, that's fine. I'm just really excited to bead. Never done it before, and I'm like pumped because it looks super fun. So I just want to get, but it's bothering me that this is like, oh, the fish is done, but it's really not done. There's still that little bit. So it's like missing an eye, and there's some other beads in there. The shell's going to have a lot of beads in there, but yeah. So that's about as far I've had. It's been super fun working on this. for a long time, this is my first piece of linen that I've used in a long time. I've been using a lot of even weaves, so it's a little bit weird getting used to this, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, I want all the linen. But yeah, as I said, I was super pleased with how this came out dyeing wise. It's super easy. I literally just watched a couple of tutorials. I think the main one I watched was Farm Girl. She has a great one on dyeing fabrics. And so I watched her and I just kind of copied her and it came out awesome. You can't see it. There's a little bit. That's why I wanted to start up here. There's a little bit. It was all like really pretty. There's a really light area up here. So I wanted to make sure like I kind of started it. I don't mind big gaps, but I didn't want it like a ton of it to be that light area. So I kind of put that fish in that light area. So that was my reason for starting up in that corner there. And now I'm down here, so now I can kind of do whatever I want as I work across. Me and Nicole are both doing 1/1 on the skin, which I mean, first mirabilia, obviously I've never tried that before. Hers is looking super pretty. I haven't decided with the blended threads and 1/1 exactly how I'm going to do that. I watched Luda has a tutorial on that, which I'm going to use like bits and pieces of how she does hers, but then she replaces a lot of hers too. So for like the blended threads, I feel like she just replaces the color. I don't know if I want to do that or if I want to just like, it's like 1/1 you're going to have like 4. So I don't know if I want to do like catty corner the same in the blends and then just do that, the blended area. So I'm just going to have to like fiddle with it a little bit and see what I prefer, but hopefully next time I get on here, I'll at least have a little bit of the skin done so that way I can show you how that's going. And yeah, that's my Mermaid of Atlantis. This is a 32 count. That's pretty much all I've been stitching on. Either even weave or linen. It's all been 32. That's kind of like my sweet spot, I feel like. So yeah, that is her. So that's like all. I worked a little bit on my Haid, but it's not enough to, that was one of my Arbitrary August, of course. That one just does not, it keeps haunting me, which is fun to work on, but I was kind of happy to put it away too. But that's not really, I mean, yes, there was some done, but unless it's like a page finish or anything, it's just all background right now, so it's really not worth showing. So that's pretty much all I have done lately. I have a little bit of haul to show you, and then I'll kind of wrap this up. I wanted to keep this short and sweet. Nothing crazy. You did not need to hear me ramble for an hour. This is one, I think I was buying some, I forget what threads I was buying on 123 Stitch. And the total was only like $5 or something. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to pay the shipping just for that amount. So why not get another chart? I just love her. I actually bought her before I started doing my other mirabilia, before I realized like, hey, mirabilias are super fun. She's just super in my style, despite the fact that I absolutely despise bugs. They're like my mortal enemy. Do not like them. Don't like to squish them. Don't like them around me. They just freak me out. I absolutely love the woods. I like to hike. I think they're really beautiful. They kind of scare me a little bit, which is probably part of the reason why I kind of like them too, but I just think they're beautiful. So with her, she is Cathedral Woods Goddess. I always just call her the Woods Goddess. But I just think she's beautiful. I don't know if we've talked about it, but me and my husband were really hoping to move down to the Nashville area maybe next year. We'd like to go now, but we're trying to be kind of like save some money over the next like 9 months or whatever before we move and plan a little bit better. But it's tempting to just like sell the house and go. But I mean, obviously I can get, with doing hair, I can do hair any salon. I mean, it's not going to be hard for me to find a job just because how many salons are out there in the world. My husband's the big one that needs to find a job first, and then we can kind of work from there. So we're not in a huge rush. It's just kind of where our hearts are right now. We want to be by like, for my daughter's sake, I always say, not that I'm gypping her, but any of the moms know, you just want like the best for your kids. And I feel like being away from like all of our family, I feel like she's like kind of missing out a little bit. So with New Jersey being as expensive as it is, Tennessee by my in-laws would be the next stop for us. And it's beautiful down there. We love it down there. Wouldn't have to deal with the snow. It's just kind of like the happy medium. 6 hours from Florida. Yes, yes, yes. So I bought her. She just kind of reminded me of the woods. Kind of reminded me, I grew up in the woods in New Jersey. New Jersey is actually super beautiful. So, oh, sorry, I'm like tapping my leg. It's very woodsy. I grew up hiking and just being outside, so she just reminded me of all that, and also kind of reminded me a little bit of Tennessee. But she would look beautiful with my house decor. She's just has it going on, so maybe at some point I can start her. When I kitted up Mermaid of Atlantis, I was like, ooh, that's like it's a little pricey to like kit her all up with all the beads and everything. And now that I'm going, I'm like, oh, I did not need to buy like all the silks and all the beads. Like, especially if you're gonna bead at the end, you can wait and kind of buy those like down the line. I just didn't know that, so I just bought it all in one fell swoop. Sorry, my cat's gonna come through. And so yeah, so with her, it's like I could buy like the DMC and the silks and just hold off on everything else till I'm ready for that. So that makes it a little bit more doable. The next two, I don't even know. I think probably I had a stressful day at work, and that's when I start to like shop on my phone when I have breaks. And this just happened. But they've both been on my wish list for a really long time, and finally I was just like, you know what? I'm buying it. Got it off Etsy. Hit that button, and they were at my house within like 3 or 4 days. It was a beautiful thing. And I have an order of CXC thread somewhere in China coming for me. And then my husband made me feel super guilty about it, so I'm probably never going to do it again. But I was on there. I think I kitted up 3 or 4 charts. And I told myself, I'm like, I should like write down what charts I'm kitting, what charts I'm kitting up right now, so that way I know that the next 2 are kitted up and in the mail. And then there's 2 others where I'm like, crap, I didn't write it down and I have no idea. So with the threads that I'm gonna have to like try and like figure out what other 2 charts I have kitted up. But I kind of I literally kitted up 4 projects for $25. And then my husband starts talking about sweatshops and little kids working 18-hour days, and I don't think I'm ever gonna do it again. Like, nope, made me feel way too guilty, made me super sad, but what's done is done. I already bought, not to say they're made at sweatshops, I'm not saying that, but it weirded me out enough to be like, ugh, I don't know about that. But regardless, I have a bunch of threads in the mail. These 2 are both kitted up with all of the threads. So this is my first one. I have had this in my cart for a long, long time, and I just needed to buy it because, like I said, see, theme, Cathedral Woods Goddess, more trees, more nature, yes. And the verse, Lindy Stitches does a beautiful verse. I like this one, but I like the one Lindy does even better. I forget what one that is right now. You can go to her page and look it up, but she does a beautiful, beautiful verse in the middle. I don't know. I just think it's super pretty. Again, it's probably one that would easily go into my house, so that's why I'm like, yep, that's gonna happen. I just love all the trees. I love how it's laid out. So yeah, so that jumped into my cart somehow. And then the other one, another one, I've been wanting a Carriage House Samplings for a long time, and I had a hard time deciding what one. For a while I wanted the year, and then I looked at it and I was like, ooh, Year at Hawker and Hollow, super pretty. I didn't know if that's the one I wanted to go. There's just so many, and they're all beautiful, so I was having a hard time. Finally decided on the Shores of Hawker and Hollow. And I think the thing that sold me, I know Pam from Just Keep Stitching is doing this one as well. I don't know if it was her, but someone was talking about, or no, maybe it was Amy. But everybody's like changing this like in their remembrance of, and then putting like the name of someone into like a family member or someone that they know. And like I said in a previous video, we had our friend that passed away 9 years ago when he was in his early 20s. He was actually in the Coast Guard. So I was like, oh, well, that's easy. These are all like boats and everything, kind of right up that theme. So I'm actually going to put his name and then the dates and everything for him in there. So I thought that would be super fun. Again, I think this is another really pretty one, and one I can easily see hanging in my house. We have a lot of like blues and greens in our house, so that's what all of these charts would be easy to hang. It's like, it's hard with the Mermaid of Atlantis. It's like, I have no idea what I would do with her, like when I finish her, but that's okay. She'll hang out somewhere, even if it's seasonally or something. I don't know. We'll see. I think that's it. I paid my StitchCon invoice. I was kind of having a little bit of a hard time debating. Do I want to go? Do I want to stay? it was just having like a hard time kind of reconciling that. I always feel it's like you make it through summer and it's great, and in the fall, especially when you have a child, everything gets really expensive. And we just bought a mattress and the holidays are coming. So I am someone, which I'm a very happy kind of person, which whatever this means, but I am that way. I am and I'm not. It's kind of like I'm a very introverted. My husband would probably say I'm pretty quiet. I kind of have these funny hobbies. Like I'm just more of a quiet person, especially compared to him. But when I'm like, say when I'm working like at work, I kind of feel like I'm a different person, which it is still that one-on-one, but it's like I just like need to switch yourself on and you need to go, because which some people do. They come in and they want to just sit there and be quiet, which is 100% okay with me. But I've been at my salon now for 7 years. A lot of the people I have like a standing relationship with, and they want to talk and they're expecting a certain like conversation and to go. So it's like I kind of have to like switch myself on. And then for an introvert though, that like completely drains me. So by the end of the night, I'm just like dead, but I still have to play mom. So I am this very kind of, I want to talk and get to know you, but I'm also, there's a part of me that's like I probably have super bad anxiety if I were to sit down and admit it, because I'm constantly overthinking everything. So when I'm thinking about buying a new chart or getting new threads, I'm thinking about where else can that money go, and oh my gosh, and I'm already thinking about Thanksgiving and Christmas. So like mentally, I'm like 3-4 months down the road, which is mentally exhausting. And I know this, but I can't stop myself. But part of being a mom, part of probably overthinking and being an anxious person, but that's just life. But so that's back to StitchCon. So that's why I was having a hard time being like, oh, do I want to drop this $150 to hold my spot, which it feels like it's like $150 for nothing, which I know it's not for nothing. You're holding your spot, you get like a nice, it's for something, it's just not immediate, it's for next June. So and then I was thinking like, oh my gosh, like what if we move to Nashville? What if I get pregnant? What if we decide to have another baby sooner than later? And I was just like, what? And my husband was the one to stop and be like, no, you are paying that invoice and you're going. And I'm like, okay. And we have until like April to be able to say like, hey, I'm not going. And I think we get like a refund or something. So, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Do I make it a big deal? Absolutely. Do I overthink it? Absolutely. But it's paid. It's there. Unless something unforeseen happens, I'm going to be there. It was super fun this year. It was just super great. And even if like Nicole off to the Flosses, she's someone, I met her one day and we've been like talking, we're doing a stitch along. And I'm like, even if I walk away with that one friend, it was 110% worth it. So, and obviously there was more than that, but I was like, I feel like I just like went in there. I really needed someone, landed at her table. We have a great friendship. She's awesome. So yeah, so totally worth it. So if you haven't already, pay your StitchCon invoices. That's the point of what I was saying. Okay, I think that's all I have to say. Hopefully I have a little bit more time before my daughter gets up and I can get a little bit of stitching on that mermaid in and kind of sit down and chill for a little bit while. And yeah, I hope you all are having a great September. It's still hot in Indiana. I am ready for fall weather, but this is what we're given, so we're just kind of rolling with it for now. And yeah, have a great September, and I will see you guys hopefully at the end of October, close to Halloween. Bye guys, happy stitching!